friends. I'm just sitting in this tree enjoying the changing colors of the leaves, and I had a story that I wanted to read you. This book is called Fletcher and the Falling Leaves by Julia Rawlinson and Tiffany Beak. The world was changing. Each morning when Fletcher bounced out of his den, everything seemed just a little bit different. The rich green of the forest was turning into a dusty gold, and the soft swishing sound of summer was fading to a crinkly whisper. Fletcher's favorite tree was looking dull, dry, and brown. Fletcher, visiting it every day, was beginning to get worried. "I think my tree is ill," said Fletcher. "What's wrong with it?" asked Mummy. "Its leaves are turning brown," said Fletcher. "Don't worry, it's only autumn," smiled Mummy. Fletcher trotted back to his tree and patted the rough bark. "Don't worry, it's only autumn," he said. "You'll soon be feeling better." But the tree didn't get any better. Day by day, it got browner still. One day, as Fletcher sat under the tree, the wind began to blow. A small brown leaf blew off the tree and drifted towards the ground. Fletcher jumped up and caught it very gently with his paw. "Don't worry, tree, I've got your leaf. You'll soon be fixed," said Fletcher. He looked around, scratched his head, and picked a piece of grass. He carefully tied the leaf to the branch and sat down happily. Just then, another gust of wind ruffled Fletcher's fur. The little leaf shook itself free and fluttered back down to the ground. Fletcher picked it up again and thought very hard. Then he poked the leaf onto the twig and pushed it firmly down. "Now you hold on tight," said Fletcher. "No more flying around." The little leaf gave a tiny rustle in reply. The next day, a strong wind was blowing through the forest. Fletcher rushed out of the den and ran all the way to his tree. Lots of its branches were brown and bare, and little lost leaves whirled around everywhere. "Don't worry, tree," he called in alarm. "I'll catch them for you, I promise." Round and round and round whirled Fletcher after the twirling leaves. "Leaves! Wonderful! Just what I need for my nest," said a squirrel, scampering up. "But these belong to the tree," said Fletcher. "Don't take them away." "The tree doesn't need them anymore," said the squirrel, and off he bounded. "Help! Help! The wind and the squirrels are stealing our leaves!" cried a frantic Fletcher. "Leaves! Marvelous! Just what I need to keep me warm," said the hedgehog, rolling around. "But these belong to the tree," said Fletcher, plucking leaves from the hedgehog's prickles. "Not anymore," snuffed the hedgehog, and away he rolled. "Help! The wind and the squirrels and the hedgehogs are stealing our leaves!" cried a frenzied Fletcher. This time, a flock of friendly birds swooped down from the sky. They picked the leaves up with their beaks and poked them onto the tree's branches. Soon, the tree was leafy again, and Fletcher flopped down and smiled. "Thank you, birds," he gasped as the birds fluttered and chirped away. He lay, looking up through the leaves at the sky, and drifted off to sleep. But still, the wind continued to blow, and still the branches danced. The leaves shivered and shook themselves and began to wiggle free. They tossed and turned and twitched and twirled and tumbled to the ground. They brushed Fletcher's ears and nose and filled his dreams with a whispering sound. When Fletcher finally blinked awake, he couldn't believe his eyes. Instead of a roof of dancing leaves, he could see bare branches against the sky. "Oh, tree, I'm so sorry," said Fletcher. "All your leaves are gone." But then he saw, high in the branches, one small leaf still holding on. "I won't let the wind steal that one," said Fletcher, and he began to climb. He wriggled along the last leaf and held it firmly onto the branch. All day long the wind blew, the branch bounced, and Fletcher held on tight. "I'll stay with you, leaf," he gasped. "Don't worry that all your friends have gone." But then, with a sudden whoosh of the wind, the branch bounced high. With a whisper, plop, the leaf let go and fluttered like a little flag clutched to Fletcher's paw. Fletcher looked sadly at the leaf, the tree's last leaf that he had promised to save. He carried it carefully down the tree and all the way back to the den. He made it a cozy little bed and gently tucked it in for the night. But all night long, he could only think of the tree all on its own. At first light, he tiptoed out into the chilly dawn. The wind had finally stopped blowing, and the air was damp and cold. The moon still hung in the clear sky, and pale stars glimmered. As he came to his favorite tree, Fletcher saw a magical sight. The tree was hung with thousands of icicles, shining silver in the early light. "You are more beautiful than ever," whispered Fletcher to the tree made of ice. "Can the squirrel and the hedgehog keep your leaves for the cold winter nights?" A tiny breeze shivered the branches, making a sound like laughter, and in the light of the rising sun, the sparkling branches nodded. Thanks for joining me for my story today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.